felt like that was a appropriate video for this morning, considering what those guys is wearing is most of what people were wearing at the concert that I went to yesterday.
I was thinking when you were playing it, I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to ask, did we give more money to Ukraine?
I don't think so.
There was something that tied in. Oh shit. Yeah, man. That's cool. So you had yourself a big you went out into the world yesterday, huh?
Yeah, we went to the final day of Louder Than Life yesterday, which, for those who don't know, Louder Than Life is a huge rock festival. It's a 4-day thing in Louisville every year.
Is it a Christian rock festival? It sounds like a Christian rock festival name.
No, it's everything. So
okay.
There were some Christian. So Stephanie's favorite of the day yesterday was Flyleaf, which Flyleaf's lead singer is very devoutly Christian, and she talks about her story and stuff on the stage throughout the set, which is really cool. But no, I mean, there was Picturesque, Crossfade, 10 Years, Bring Me the Horizon, Evanescence. Gosh, what were some of the Rev Theory? Like, there was a bunch. That's
cool.
Yeah,
they're these are all bands from like our time.
Yeah, I was like, one stage had Rev Theory, 10 Years, Crossfade, Flyleaf, and I can't remember who the other one was, but it was like just nonstop. I was like, this is like my entire playlist from college. It was
pretty much, man.
So when we got there, we as soon as we got there, it started raining, and they put us on a rain delay, which it was just raining. It wasn't like lightning, or it was kind of windy, and the rain was pretty strong, but it wasn't anything like crazy. But they had a rain delay for a couple hours, and so 12 Stones was one of them that was supposed to play on that stage that had all the others that were like from my college playlist. They ended up getting scrubbed because of the rain delay, which kind of sucked. That was one that Stephanie was really looking forward to. But I mean, it was Rev Theory ended up being the ones that kicked it off, and that was really cool because the lead singer for Rev Theory, so they gave them the green light to start, and they did a song, and then they were like, hold up. Like, there's they've got the gates open and people are starting to come in. We want to let the crowd build up a little bit. So he's like, I got told we got to hold off. We'll start back up here in just a minute. And so he got to talking and stuff, and he said, this is our first show that we've done in 10 years. He said, we haven't really done anything. He said, people measure success different. And for me, success is I get to do this again with my wife right over there and my daughter who's never seen me perform. And so he told the daughter to come out. Looked like about a 10-year-old kid. Like, oh, I wonder if that's maybe why he stopped, why they stopped touring and stuff. And then the drummer brought his kid out too, a little boy, and he looked like he was probably about 6 or 7. So that was pretty cool. And they kicked off the day and they put on a good show to start it all off. So it was a lot of fun.
They didn't have the kid rip some tasty licks on the guitar.
No, she ran
out. That bloodline.
She ran out and played, and then went back to the side while they did their set once they got started. But it was cool.
That's cool. Yeah, I remember Flyleaf had what was that big song? Fully Alive. Yeah, that jam. I haven't listened to a lot of that shit in years. I remember Crossfade. I would have never thought about them again if you had just mentioned it.
They did a really good show too. I think 10 Years might have been my favorite. The lead singer really kind of built it up. They did a good set. Picturesque surprised me. So Picturesque is one that's on my running playlist. It's a newer band, I guess. But the beats and everything are really good for running. So it's a lot of Picturesque is on my running playlist. And they were playing at a little side stage. There was this big bourbon bar and like all these different bourbons had their own like booths set up in this tent bar area, and there was a stage in the middle, and Picturesque was on that stage, and so we went up. I was like, I want to see them because I listened to them a lot, and also and I also wanted to hit up all the bourbon booths and see what they had. So we go up there. That was a really good show. They were incredibly good. I'd never seen them and didn't have any expectations of what they would be like. They were really good. But that guy too, he's like, we hadn't done a show in probably 2 years. He's like, this is we're kind of getting back into it. It was kind of cool. The bands over there that haven't been doing shows recently and came out for Louder Than Life and just
because they're all old people like us.
Absolutely fucking rock. Oh yeah. We were watching Hinder. Hinder was the other one that was on that main stage, or that one stage that we were watching. And Hinder, they had like 1 or 2 songs left, and I was like the lead singer looks like he's about gassed. Like you can tell he's like our age, and he was running out of steam. I was like, they only got 1 or 2 more in him because I don't think he can make it past that. And Stephanie looked up. She was like, "Oh yeah, he does look tired."
Dude, it takes it out of you. Like, and I'm not like, not like I've done, performed a bunch of concerts or anything, but like playing a fucking instrument, and fucking, I mean, you're working up there, dude, I'm always impressed by the longevity of most musical performers. Like let's just say like you play the fucking piano at Nordstrom or some shit. Like you're sitting there for like hours fucking playing. Like that's crazy. I mean, you're just sitting there, right? But like, especially like dudes, you're on stage and you're like, it's a type of music or show with fucking energy, like that's endurance, man. Yeah, I used to play the drums, and I mean, I really like playing like, like punk rock and shit, like Pennywise, but I couldn't play more than 2 Pennywise songs in a row without like taking a fucking break, dude. Cause it's so much, fucking Tesla. Sorry, some douche passing me in a place that doesn't warrant being passed. Anyhow, it's a neighborhood for crying out loud. Speaking of sounding old, but yeah, dude. When I go to a concert, man, especially with like older bands, like we saw, me and a buddy saw Government Mule a couple years ago, and like, dude, they were great, but they're like dudes in like their 60s or 70s or some shit, man. They look like Muppets up there, but they fucking rock, dude. It's very impressive. So yeah, to be able to, especially if you're, if you're you haven't been doing it a lot, you're out of shape or something, trying to get up there and fucking wail.
Yeah,
stuff.
It was pretty cool. And today, Stephanie and I are just completely wore out. Like by the end of the day, my shoulders were aching, especially the last couple of, so 3 Days Grace and Evanescence were the last ones that we stayed for. And then as Evanescence was winding down, we got out of there because it was going to be late whenever we got home anyway. And if we stayed all the way to the end, we'd have been getting home at like 4 o'clock in the morning. So we, as Evanescence was winding down, we kind of bounced out. But man, like with 3 Days Grace and Evanescence, they were on the main stages, and you had to just like have your head on a swivel and be watching, because there would be a body come flying overhead, like, and we're not like we're like midway. We're not all the way up at the front, but we're not way at the back. We're like kind of middle of the pack, and just like out of nowhere, here comes a body flying over, and it's like, oh shit, move, keep them going. And Stephanie was like, we got to get to the back. We got to get out of this. This is nuts.
Too old for this.
Yeah, I agree. My shoulders were aching, and both of our feet hurt, knees hurt. Oh God, it was so fun though. I saw way too much. Like talking about the attire of Zelensky and crew in that video. Stephanie wore like a little like leotard thing and some shorts, and she was she was cute. She looked kind of punk rock chick. She was like, how am I like the most overdressed person here? I was like, dear, did you really expect otherwise? Like there were I barely floss running through some of these chicks' butt cracks. And it's like, at least there's something maybe on the front side to cover it up. There was one that was just running around with like, whole ass out. I don't know what was hanging on to cover the front, and I didn't go around that side to find out. I was like, on a positive note, because I've been to a few festivals like this before, and I was like, on a positive note, at least today I have not seen any pussy lips hanging out. I was like, that might be a first for one of these. And like, I also haven't been trying to find them either, so it's possible.
Right.
I managed to avoid it. Oh my gosh. And like just walking around with pasties on and nothing else. I'm like, and some of these people, you need a bra. You're like, I sent y'all the message. Your B cups should not touch your belly button. I'm like, that's not right. They need support, obviously.
Well, yeah, and that's we're small boob appreciators on the show.
Yes.
And like as we say, it's like I say, like small boobs sometimes are the best ones to be walking around with just pasties on. But that's the point of small boobs. They usually have some spring to their step. You know what I mean? Like yeah, man, they shouldn't be droopers like that. Otherwise, you got to put them in something, wrangle those things.
Right.
I used to go to a lot more concerts when I was young. There's a difference between I don't know, even just like a small indoor show, and some of those are pretty gnarly. But it was like, I don't know, people still sort of, when I say dress, you're not wearing a suit and tie, but girls weren't like naked, and a lot of that you're in close contact with people in a dark place, maybe. Maybe being like half naked isn't the best, the best thing. But like I've been to like festivals and shit too, and like. Yeah, man. I mean, like when I see videos of, chicks at like festivals, multi-day festivals, stuff like that. Okay. I expect a lot more drugs. I expect more, like partial nudity or almost nudity, but if it's just like a 1 day, like outdoor concert, like it's typically a bit more under control. You know what I mean? Like I've definitely eaten a lot of mushrooms and shit at like a show like that, but it's not like a drug show, And yeah, dude, I mean, I'm not, I wasn't there. I'm not seeing what you're seeing, but from what you describe, yeah, that sounds a little more risque than what I recall, from my days at like a show like what you're talking about, like I've been to shows like that, and yeah, dude, I don't know. It's a different world. It's the yoga pants, dude. They made chicks being comfortable with being practically naked in public.
That's it. It's This is we're gonna call this yoga pants theory. The yoga pants made everybody way too comfortable with wearing their underwear out in public.
Yoga pants, the cause of and solution to all of life's problems. Yeah, dude. I don't wear women's clothing, obviously, but like they say that the yoga pants are like the most comfortable thing like ever. But to me, that seems too fucking tight on my body. That does not seem like it would be comfortable at all to me. Have you ever wore leggings? No shame if you have. There might be various reasons to do that. You played sports. You could give me a legitimate reason.
I've worn like bike shorts, which are, I guess, similar, compression shorts, but that's more to keep everything held together so that you don't have like shit flopping around when you're running.
Yeah, you don't want your left nut spilling over the side of that little bike seat or something. I get that. It's then gets pinched between your thigh. Ooh.
And I wear those for sports because I don't want everything bouncing around. But if I'm just like casually sitting around, relaxing, not doing anything, then yeah, I mean, I don't need everything to be all like held together.
So let's say I'm trying to take my balls out of the equation because women, don't have them, and I'm like, okay, let's say it wasn't a muncher cruncher kind of scenario and just, on the rest of my body. But then, yeah, I don't know. That doesn't seem super comfortable either, but I could be wrong.
Yeah. I don't want something that's like skin tight, hugging my leg, especially my thighs. Like I want But we, like, as men, we dress ourselves differently. Like, I don't want something hugging, like, skin tight on my thighs. I want my jeans to fit a little loose. I want my shorts to fit a little bit loose. Like, I don't want it just like touching me. I don't know.
I've really fallen into wearing sleep pants a lot more. Like I went a long time, I didn't get into the whole sleep pant thing, and they started getting kind of popular. I don't know, a decade ago, something like that. And then I don't know, man. The last like couple years, like you'll catch me outside in fucking muck boots in sleep pants doing like farm chores.
You know, to an old man. That's what's
okay. Usually it was like I need work boots, jeans, all my stuff clipped on me. Now I'm like, fuck it, I'll be out there in fucking sleep pants, weed whacking. I was afraid I was becoming lazy.
I have some. I pretty much only wear them to bed, though. I don't really wear them outside of that. Usually I'm in jeans, but usually to sleep, I usually just wear gym shorts. I have a pair of gym shorts that I wear to bed pretty much every night. That's it.
Yep, straight boxer man, just boxers to bed. It's a delicate balance with the air conditioner and the blanket situation, So I can't be adding extra layers to confuse the whole mess. And then most of the year I get away with just a sheet for sleeping, for blanket coverage. Unless it's like, when I say dead of winter, I mean like 4 nights a year where it's cold. I might add a blanket to the mix. Oh shit. Well, that's cool, man. I'm glad you got to go to go see some music and shit. Stuff like that's good for you, man. It's I say, maybe I don't say this often enough, but I have a theory if I haven't said this. There's, let's say problems in today's society, quote unquote, to sound like an old man. Like, there's a time and a place for stuff. And there's things that we, especially as like young, not us, but like when we were young, young people, there's shit you got to get out, right? There's energy that you got to get out, And I say that's what rock shows are for, It's a place where a couple times a year you can go just fucking cut loose. You can go in the pit and fucking make, I don't want to say violent. I mean, I've never been in any pits that I felt really endangered in or anything, but like, you can go get some fucking aggression out in a safe fucking, manner, right? Like it's, you have some drinks, do some shrooms, hook up with someone, whatever. That's what rock shows are for. It's like college. There's a time and a place for everything, and it's called college, But, people need rock shows, from time to time. You gotta get that fucking energy out, though, in a non-destructive way, and then you go back to your life, go back to work the next week.
Speaking of getting the violence out, we were while we were waiting for 3 Days Grace to start, Stephanie had gone to the bathroom, and so I was sitting underneath a little tent just kind of hanging out, and there was a dude laying on the ground next to me. He was just cut like from his shoulders all the way down his abdomen, just completely covered in bruises. Like, I guess he had been in the pit with one of the bands that was playing up there on the main stage. Got a nice little beating, which I don't remember what the name of the band. It wasn't one that I recognized, so probably a newer one or something. But I was watching the big project or the big screens and everything up there on the main stage, and they were showing the mosh pit in front of the stage for this band that was up there, and it was just like a bunch of people. It looked like a fucking corral, like a cattle corral of the cows just running around in circles, and like they're all just like running around in circles, bashing into each other. I was like, yeah, no fucking thank you. Even when I was younger, I didn't want anything to do with that. Like, wait till the
Hey, just want to jump in for a sec.
I'm gonna wait till the old people start back up and get up there closer to the front, where the worst case scenario is people start like crowd surfing, and you get hit with a body coming from behind you that you weren't expecting.
It's one of those things like hitting a heavy bag, where it's like you watch someone do it and you're like, oh, okay, that's easy, right? And then you start hitting the heavy bag, and within 8.5 seconds, you're fucking out of breath, and you're like, oh, like that's what boxing is. It's like endurance, right? The mosh pit's like that. Like you jump in, and then you're in there for 8 seconds, and you're like, oh my god, get me the fuck out of here. I am out of air. I am fucking done, dude. Like it takes it out of you so fucking quick. So I had a good friend of mine. His dad was in the military and a cop and this and that. He's a pretty cool dude. He'd been around the block once or twice, and we're watching some action movie or something, and he's like, "Here's all the bullshit in this action movie. The biggest bullshit that you guys need to know is like this fight lasted 4 minutes." He's like, "You're exhausted after 20 seconds. Fights don't last that long. In the real world, you know what I'm saying? It's not this isn't how they go down. You just get fucking exhausted." And that's when we were watching a fight at a sports game on this show recently, and it was two fat dudes, and it's just, dude, seeing fat dudes try to go at it and just get so out of breath is one of my favorite things.
Lots of fun.
Speaking
of old dudes, did you and old Wayne watch the WrestlePalooza on Saturday night? Brock Lesnar versus John Cena.
I'm sure old Wayne did.
See, Stephanie's a big John Cena fan, so we had to watch that while we were. It was not entertaining. It was very boring.
Oh, it sucked?
Yeah. Cena lost. It was completely one-sided. It didn't seem like a very well-scripted fight. They both just looked old and tired from the get-go. It was not very good. And I was disappointed, especially after, because several months ago, John Cena wrestled Randy Orton in one of the shows, and Stephanie was like, "I'm standing up and watching this. I'm gonna see my man." I was like, "All right, dear, I'll let you know how it ends, because I know how it is. I know how this is gonna go. You'll fall asleep before the fight even starts." And sure enough, we came out here and played video games for a while. Went back in, got in there right as the fight was starting, and she's over. I was like, "Hey, John Cena's starting." I'm like, "All right, I'll let you know how it goes." And so anyway, John Cena won, but it was actually a good fight. It was well choreographed, lots plenty of moves and running around and stuff. It was good. This one with Cena and Lesnar, it was just garbage. I was like, I'm glad. So it was, the options were, we could go to WrestlePalooza because it was in Indy, or we could go to the final day of Louder Than Life. And it was like, those are your options. And so she wanted to go to Louder Than Life. She thought that was more bang for the buck. And it was a good choice because, like I said, we watched the WrestlePalooza fight, and it was not entertaining at all. I don't know, maybe the rest of the night was fine, but they did that at the very beginning of the show, and then everything else is just all the other fights that we didn't care about. So I was like, yeah, I'm glad we chose to go to Louder Than Life rather than.
Yeah, that sounds like the appropriate choice. You mentioned old Wayne and wrestling. There was actually he had I hate to call it like this. He doesn't care, I guess, but he had a falling out with a friend over a wrestling thing. The other day, he was telling me about it. This guy he's known forever. they were in wrestling circles together, and this guy makes belts. He makes wrestling belts, and he sent a bunch of he sent a custom one to old Wayne for his son, and all this and that. They're friends, and his friend, the belt guy, hits him up, and he's like, "Can you believe they're doing a bunch of wrestlers are going to Saudi Arabia or something, or Dubai or some shit, whatever, somewhere over there, where everybody fucking goes to make a shit ton of money if you're a performer, and they're doing some wrestling show over there, not new, something they've definitely done stuff like that before." And he's like, "Can you believe they're going over there and doing this?" And You know, like, I guess he's mad that they're going and doing a show for terrorists or whatever. I don't know, you know? And he's, Wayne's like, I don't know. Like, I don't really give a fuck, you know, that they're doing that. Like, whatever, they're fucking working, you know? Like, who cares, you know? And the guy started calling him like a 9/11 terrorist sympathizer, and like this and that. And he's like, I'm never sending you any belts again. And fucking like, like got all pissed at Wayne for not being upset enough about the wrestlers going and performing in like Saudi Arabia. Like, dude, it's fucking wild.
Like
And,
most people like wrestling and are willing to pay to see it as well. Like,
yeah, dude, and it's well, okay. So I guess it's coming back to me now. One of the things he was upset about, I guess, was that, you know, the ticket prices are so high that only the very rich can afford to go see the show there, you know? And it's like, yeah, dude, that's how it works. Like, when the Super Bowl is very expensive and only the very rich can go see it because there's only so many fucking tickets for a once-in-a-year event. And that's how you price things. And that's just the way it works. Because guess what? Sorry, nerdy economics lesson here. Guess what? If all the ticket prices for the Super Bowl were only $1 so everybody could go see it, everybody couldn't go see it. They still have the same fucking amount of seats. You know what I mean? So like that whole argument is like fucking stupid. But people make it all the time for all sorts of like different events, and because like some movie theaters were coming out with like tiered ticket pricing where you select your seats and the seats would have different prices depending on where it was in the theater. Like the best seats, you know, in the center or what the fuck ever, would be like the most expensive, and people are like pissed about it, and they're like, oh no, poor people won't be able to. And it's like, it's still the same amount of fucking seats, and I'm sorry, that's the way the world works. Like, better shit costs more, you know? So yes, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and say it's a shame that the very rich kings and emperors or whatever the fuck they have in Saudi Arabia, it's a shame that they have multiple palaces while there's poor people there who can't even scrape together a couple fucking lentils, whatever the fuck they eat over there, you know, for fucking dinner. Yes, that's a goddamn shame. But you know what? That's the way it fucking is, dude. You know, like, I don't know what to fucking tell you. Not enough to get that upset about it. You know what I mean? And boycott. Oh, that's it. I'm done wrestling. I never want to hear about wrestling again. Like, he's done with wrestling, he says. I'm never gonna watch it. I'm done. You know? And I'm just like, dude, like, and this is like a lesson for like everyone here. Like, yeah, our listeners and just everyone. Okay, like don't let stupid bullshit like that ruin shit you love. You know, like, yes, I know, like, you know, it's gay that they did something in like hockey, like some pride thing, but you're really gonna never watch hockey again. Like, don't let it fucking ruin your shit, dude. Fuck, man. I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, the solution is just stop being poor, obviously.
Yes, duh. That ultimately is the solution. Do better. Yeah, and it's fucking Saudi Arabia, dude. Who cares? I guess in soccer, so this would make sense for soccer. Pansies. This would make sense for soccer that I guess for like the World Cup, they do like a lottery system so that there is an opportunity for not exceedingly wealthy people to be able to go to the game.
Once again, soccer proving itself to be the gayest sport on the planet.
Yeah. And my argument is like, you still because what they were saying, there's a thing they were talking about on the news, and they're like, yeah, you know, because think about it. Let's say you're coming from, you know, people from all over the world come to the World Cup, right? So if you're coming from, you know, whatever country and flying here to see the World Cup, then it's already very expensive. So if the ticket's very expensive, and I'm like, look, if you can afford international travel, you're not poor. Like, in the first place, like, you're already talking about people who can afford international travel from like third world countries or some shit. Like, if you live in Honduras and you can fly to the US, because I think the World Cup's supposed to be here, you can fly to the US to see the World Cup and then fly back, you're already like top 1% of Honduras. Like, yes, fucking soccer ticket aside, you're probably like top 1% of Honduras, right? Am I being racist by thinking that Honduras is a poor place, right?
Yes, I would say objectively so.
Okay, so yeah, like, Unless you're on a resort or something. Yeah, like, that you're already like top 1%. So what the fuck are we talking about here? I don't know. So my weekend was a lot of goat stuff. I was telling you guys about my goat problems with my neighbor,
Oh yeah.
and
Oh yeah.
it was
I was gonna say, you can't just lead in with my weekend was a lot of goat stuff and
yeah. So yeah, I talked about it last week, but basically my neighbor has had goats for a couple years, and he never really built like a pen for them. They just live. He has a bit of acreage, and they just live by his house, like, and just forage, and just didn't venture far from the house. So whatever, I mean, of course, me and the wife talking trash about the neighbors behind their back. It's like, man, they should really have a fucking, you need somewhere to secure your fucking goats. At least it may be temporary, or if you got to wrangle them up for medical stuff or whatever. But whatever, it works for them. It's fine. Well, their goats discovered that we have goats last week. And so they have been coming over to our fence line and headbutting and fighting and stuff like this outside of our property, which has bothered me because I think people think they're our goats, and like they're not our goats, like we're not the problem here. But it's fine. Shit happens. The guy's busy. They got kids and shit. And so they were trying to secure their goats and like their chicken coop, and of course the goats are busting out, coming back over to my property. It's gonna be very annoying. They're very embarrassed, whatever. So this weekend, dude's like, okay, I got time. I'm gonna build him a fence. I'm like, great, dude. He's like, can you give me some pointers? I'm like, yeah, come on over. So it's this weekend. Like, come on over. I'll show you how electric fence works. I show him all my fencing. I show him the charger. I draw him diagrams. And electric fencing, are you familiar, Justin? Have you ever used electric fencing or set it up or anything?
Some, yes.
It's like the most simple electrical project you'll ever do, right? Like, I mean, setting it up can have its like challenges, but as far as the electrical functionality works, like there's like a ground and the wire, and like, that's it. Like, it's very simple. So I like explain all this to him, and I give him, like I loan him like my backup fence charger and like, a bunch of shit, electric fence installation tools, all that stuff. Get it yourself, but here's this for the weekend. Get it handled. I show him all my stuff. I show him, do this, don't do this. Here's some ideas, whatever. Figure out what works. All right, little birdie, go fly. Right. So he goes and works on it all day. And by this point, like, his goats come back over to my house. They've now at this point gotten in my fence. And in fairness, like I mentioned last week, there were some weak spots in my fence from the last hurricane that I've just sort of propped up, but I haven't had any issues with things trying to get in. Definitely not goats. So I'm fixing my fence all weekend, and in fairness, it's stuff where my fence is old. It's over 10 years old. It's got staples popping out. It needed some TLC, so it forced me to do that. But still, not what I plan on doing this weekend. But at some point, dude, his goat got inside my inner pen with my fucking goats. So now his goats like getting the shit beat out of him by my goats, and going along with it. You know what I mean? Goats. They're gonna go, and the neighbor's goat's a dwarf goat or mini goat, so they're like more aggressive, I'm told. So he's just going hard. I'm afraid someone's gonna get hurt. But I'm not sweating it. They're goats, whatever. End of the evening comes. Yeah, I mean, yeah, they're probably kind of having fun. And hey, man, my main buck, he's got to defend his turf from time to time. Can't let him go getting soft. So, dude calls me and he's like, "Hey, man, I got it built, but the goats are just getting right out. Can you come take a look at it?" I'm like, "Yeah, come over and take a look." And at this point, I'm like 6 beers deep and maybe a pot cookie or two. So I'm a little tipsy, and dude, like it was rough, man. Like it was rough. Like he's got a ground, and it's like a piece of all thread, and the ground wire is duct taped to the ground rod. And I'm like, you need a clamp, dude. Like that doesn't work in electrical. You can't duct tape a ground with a ton of ground. And I go, how long is your ground rod? How deep is it? The guy goes, about 6 inches to a foot. And I'm just like, fuck me, dude. Like I have 3 6-foot ground rods in my electrical fence system, for instance, which I explained. And I'm just like, no, man, no, dude. So I help them out a little bit. There's big gaps in the fence, you know what I mean, where they're just sort of pushing through the electric. I'm like, no, man, you need a solid fence on the other side. You know, it was, God bless him, dude. You know, I kind of laugh about it, like watching him out there wrangling his goats, like in his underwear in the morning. Like, it's not funny. I know how frustrating it is, but it's funny because, like, that's been me. You know what I mean? Fortunately, my goats have never left my property, not like that, but like I get it, you know, and like I've built a lot of really shitty stuff around the homestead that didn't even, you know, it didn't even get off the runway, or it exploded mid-flight, or maiden voyage, or whatever you want to say. You know, I build something, spend a whole day building this thing, dude, put the animals in it, and within 10 minutes, they're just out of it. You know what I mean? And it's like, what the fuck? And I realized my whole idea sucked. And, you know, like you go through that, you know, until you learn how to set fence posts and set corner fence posts. Like, you know, it's a struggle, but I don't know, dude. It was his fence was pretty rough, dude. It was pretty rough. I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say here. Yesterday morning, the goats were out. We got them back over, and I have not seen them since. So we must have figured something out between now and then. So that's good. It's a learning curve, you know. It's just, that's why I try not to get too like frustrated like at him for sucking at it, you know, because I'm like, that was me, you know, that was me. I've done a lot of dumb shit, you know. I was trying to spare him some of those mistakes by bringing him over and pointing things out, you know, of areas I made mistakes. Here's why I did this. Here's what problem this solved. I like to think I'm a decent teacher. Like I've had like a job as like a trainer, like at like, you know, jobs I've had, like I've trained people, you know, like they've hired, like people have put me in that position. Like I think I'm pretty good at it. But sometimes I feel like, man, maybe I suck. I don't know. Sorry for rambling.
No,
It was a rough weekend.
I've found as a trainer, I have to take breaks from the trainees. Because I like, number one, if I see somebody do something, then I pick it up pretty well on my own. So I don't need a whole lot of like training or assistance. And I just expect other people when I'm training them and I'm actually like explaining it as I'm showing them, like, you should pick this up on the first try. There's no reason I should have to tell you this twice. And then when I have to tell them a second and a third and a fourth, and I'm like, all right, maybe we should just fire this motherfucker and like move on. Like, yeah. Listen, you know,
and not only is this okay, but I like to hear this because then I know that they're actually taking it in. I wanted to ask a clarifying question or two. I want to be able to show them and then go, okay, so I do this because of this or whatever. You know what I mean? I go, okay, they're paying attention, they're thinking about it, and you know, I know that, you know, I feel better about it. For me, because I overthink shit. You explain something to me, I'm going to ask you a clarifying question or two. You know what I mean? And then usually I'm pretty good to go. You know,
I especially hate the ones that are like, all right, you got any questions about that? No, I got it. And then they very clearly do not have it. It's like, I asked you if you had any questions. You obviously don't.
This is the time for that. Yeah.
You didn't pick this up. Like, say so and tell me before you go fuck it up. Like, I showed you how to do this the right way so that you wouldn't fuck it up, and I gave you the opportunity to ask me questions so that you wouldn't fuck it up, and you said you had it, and then you fucked it up. So now we have a bigger problem. Like, what the fuck
what's frustrating is
I'm
like
I'm not a good trainer.
If everybody, if everybody you train just sucks, like, okay, maybe you're not a good trainer, right? But it's like, there are times where like there's people who fucking get it. Like, there's people in this world who just, they can, I don't know, they fucking understand the physical world around them, and there's people who fucking don't. I don't know what this quality is, but there's people who I can just explain something to halfway, and they go, oh well, yeah, I picked up what you're putting down because of this, boom, 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 and they're just boom, they're good to go, and I'm gonna come back, check on them, and I'm like, oh shit, I like the way you're doing this. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna change the way I do it now because of this motherfucker. You know,
you start explaining how to do it to them. And then they pick up where you're going with the explanation and finish it for you, and like finish out explaining why you're doing it. Okay, I got it, because we need to do it like this, because then this, and this is like, yes, that's it. Bingo. You got this. Like,
yeah, that's how I know I'm not just a bad trainer or a bad teacher, because There's definitely success stories. You know when I really had problems, and this is always when we were kids trying to teach my sister something. She was 4 years younger than me. There was a lot of sibling bickery, between the two of us from time to time. But like her, and it's the exact same thing with trying to teach my wife something. And I think that it's because, okay, if my wife goes to a job and there's like a man there who's training her, like she's going to listen and she's going to learn and she's going to do fine. But when I try to train her, we have that relationship to where, she's going to get pissy with me about saying something a certain way where she wouldn't get pissy with a regular man about saying, you know what I'm saying? Like I try to teach her the same way I've taught dozens and dozens of men to do things, and it's fine. But with her, I have a bad tone. You know what I'm saying? Like, so sometimes it can be really tough for me to teach my wife something because there gets to be that attitude with me. You know what I mean? Where she won't just do it the way that I show her to do it, like she would. I'm sure that, and I mean, maybe not. Maybe because she's a woman, she just gets away with shit at jobs that men wouldn't. I don't know. But like, I assume that when she goes to work at a panel shop and they teach her how to use the wire cutting machine, she just listens to them and then might figure it out on her own later to do it differently. But she's not going to argue with them. If she says, what about this? They go, no, do it like this. She's going to go, okay. But if I say, no, we do it like this, she go, well, I think we should do it like this. You know what I mean? And then you're fucked because then you can't explain why you do it like this because there's already an attitude thing going on. You live with a woman. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I just let her do whatever the fuck she wants. And then whenever she goes to work, I'll fix it while she's not here.
Yeah.
Luckily, she doesn't listen to the show, so I don't have to worry about her hearing that. It's like, just
I hope mine's not listening. I'm sure she's not.
So talking about like training, the biggest problem is like, because I've been in management, so a lot of times I get management trainees, and there are two types. There are the ones that you tell them your college degree means literally not a fucking thing. Everything that you learned for the last 4 years, forget it. I'm going to teach you everything you need to know in the next 4 weeks. You have the ones that
have fun with those student loan payments.
Yeah, pretty much. You have the ones that are like, oh, shit, well, okay then. And then they're ready to learn. And then you have the others that are like, no, I did 4 years of college. I know everything. I already know this. It's like, I did 4 years of college too. I'm telling you, not fucking shit. Like, it takes as much time to unlearn the college as it does to learn the actual job sometimes. Like, that's the problem with some of them. Is like,
but didn't it make you such a more well-rounded individual, Justin? Isn't it?
That's also why you're starting to see companies these days that don't look to hire college graduates into certain types of positions. They want somebody that has in this field experience, that are younger and have shown a certain aptitude towards leadership. It's like, all right, we don't have 4 years of brainwashing and thinking that they're smarter than the rest of the plant to try to unteach. Like, we can just bring them in as a fresh, clean slate and build them into what they need to be. And that's kind of fucking unfortunate for like the middle management types, that your degree actually kind of sets you behind because it gives you this false sense of accomplishment that you think you actually know something and you think you're qualified to do something, when in reality you're actually further behind than somebody who spent 4 years in the industry just learning what it is that they do at this company. And they did that while getting paid, whereas you're coming into this with a bunch of student debt. So you also think you need to make like a certain salary range because you have to pay off this debt. So yeah, the whole college experience is, while the experience itself is great, it's kind of fucking a lot of people coming. I guess I was lucky. I spent a year and a half working in the field that I was going to go into. So I already knew that everything that I learned in college was fucking useless. Like, I had worked in the field and saw how it was actually done. And then I went back to college to finish up, and they would talk about how things were done. It's like, that's not how it's done. Oh yeah, the professor would tell you, like, oh yeah, if you read here in this chapter, it's like, this is how. It's like, no, I actually like worked in the plant. Like, that's not how it's done. That's not how it actually works. It's like, oh yeah, it is. It's like, all right, whatever, dude. Like, I'll say whatever you want to pass a fucking test, but you've got this completely ass fucking backwards. And you know, that is the college experience, is learning all the wrong things so that you can go into the field and learn it the right way, or not, and be disappointed with life forever.
Yep, pretty gay. It is pretty gay.
Would you also say it's pretty
retarded?
I'd say it's about time.
Yes,
it is super retarded.
Because democracy basically means government by the people, of the people, for the people. But the people are retarded.